Big news has now arrived on Gunners. You want to know all the details, so follow me until the end of the video. But first, if you are in love with Arsenal, show your love and subscribe to THE channel now and turn on notifications. Here we post daily news and behind the scenes of the biggest club in THE Premier League, Arsenal. Thank you.
Tuchel full of praise for Arsenal winger after stunning goal and performance for England. When Thomas Tuchel began singing the praises of Arsenal's summer signing Noni Madueke, more than a few Gooners might have raised an eyebrow, or even blushed a little. Madueke arrived in North London with a fair amount of buzz, but after 3 appearances in red and white, he's yet to truly catch fire. So far, he hasn't shown the explosive edge many were hoping for, nor the relentless intensity that fans have come to expect from Bukayo Saka. Questions have even been raised about his work rate off the ball. Heading into the September international break, there was a growing sense of uncertainty around the former Chelsea winger. But what he delivered on international duty may have just flipped the script and reignited the excitement around his potential. Madueke shines on the international stage. With Saka unavailable for England, Tuchel handed Madueke a start on the right flank, and the Arsenal man did more than just fill in. In the 2-0 win over Andorra, he delivered a lively performance capped by a deflected strike that led to an own goal by Christian Garcia. It was a moment of luck, yes, but earned by intent and energy. But it was the following match, a 5-0 demolition of Serbia, that truly showcased what Madueke is capable of. Confident, direct, and technically sharp, he was a constant threat, and got the goal he deserved with a clinical finish. Speaking to Sky Sports after the game, Tuchel couldn't hide his satisfaction. He's got the pace and 1v1 ability, that raw edge you want in a winger. What pleased me most is that he was involved in goals. He scored, he created. That's what we want from him. Efficiency. Impact. That final product. Assists and goals. He showed real hunger and purpose today, and I was happy with his reaction when we lost the ball too. He worked hard for the team, especially helping Reece James defensively. It was a performance that gave Arsenal fans a glimpse of what Madueke could bring when he hits his stride, and a reminder of why the club brought him in to begin with. What Tuchel's words really mean for Arsenal fans. Tuchel's comments highlight 2 crucial points that should encourage Gunner supporters. If Madueke can deliver at both ends of the pitch, offensively and defensively, he becomes an asset, not a liability. Early concerns about his pressing and defensive positioning may start to fade if he maintains this kind of energy and discipline. His ability to beat defenders one-on-one, arguably his biggest strength, is precisely why Arsenal signed him. The club wanted a player who could mirror the threat Saka provides, especially on the opposite flank or when squad rotation is needed. The bottom line? He's doing it for England. And if he can find that same form in an Arsenal shirt, it could be a game changer. Madueke adding goals and assists to his game has always been the key. Now that he's opened his international account, it might just give him the confidence boost he needs to bring that momentum back to the Emirates. He may have started quietly at Arsenal, but after this break, fans have every reason to believe that Noni Madueke's breakout moment in red could be just around the corner. A new selection dilemma for Arteta? Madueke's performances for England haven't just earned him praise from Thomas Tuchel, they may have also sparked a real selection headache for Mikel Arteta. With Bukayo Saka still recovering from a hamstring injury and no guaranteed return date, Arsenal will need to rely on squad depth more than ever. And while many expected someone like Leandro Trossard or Reiss Nelson to step up in Saka's absence, it's Madueke who's now making the strongest case to start. The timing couldn't be better. Arsenal's upcoming fixtures include clashes against Nottingham Forest, Brighton, and crucial Champions League group stage games. These are matches where Arteta will need wingers who can stretch the pitch, create space, and provide a consistent attacking outlet, exactly the kind of role Madueke seems ready to take on. And with Thomas Tuchel publicly backing his former player, the psychological impact can't be overlooked. Confidence is everything for young wingers. For Madueke, who had a lukewarm start at Arsenal, that international spotlight, and the belief shown in him by a top manager, might just be the spark he needed. What this means for Saka and Arsenal's season. Of course, there's no question about Saka's place in the team when fully fit. He remains one of Arsenal's most irreplaceable players, not just for his talent, but for his leadership and consistency. But Madueke's emergence brings something Arsenal haven't had in a long time, true, dynamic depth on the right wing. That allows Arteta to rest Saka without fearing a massive drop in output. It also gives him more tactical flexibility, especially in matches where freshness and rotation will be key. In the bigger picture, it may even reshape Arsenal's January transfer plans. Before the international break, there were whispers that Arsenal might look to reinforce the flanks in January, particularly if Sokka's injury persisted. But if Madueke continues to deliver, and begins translating his international form to club level, the urgency to sign another winger may fade. Instead, the focus could shift to other positions, a central midfielder to cover for Partey during AFCON, or a left-sided defender to ease the burden on Zinchenko. The road ahead for Madueke. What comes next for Madueke is clear: consistency. 1 or 2 great games on international duty is a start, but to truly stake his claim at Arsenal, he'll need to deliver week in and week out. That means showing the same urgency, decision-making, and end product in the Premier League that he showed with England. The good news: he's got the platform. And now, he seems to have the confidence too. If he continues on this path, Madueke could go from being viewed as a depth signing to becoming a genuine game-changer. The kind of player who not only covers for Sokka but pushes him, challenges him, and helps Arsenal stay competitive across 4 competitions. For a club with title ambitions and Champions League dreams, that kind of internal competition might be the secret weapon Arsenal didn't know they had. Arsenal set for January transfer boost as Andrea Berta prepares to target 2 key signings. The transfer window may be shut for now, but at Arsenal, planning never stops. And with Andrea Berta now fully embedded in his role as sporting director, the Gunners are already looking ahead to the January window, with 2 potential signings firmly on the radar. Berta has quickly become a fan favourite after an ambitious and record-breaking first summer in charge. Since his appointment in March, he helped oversee 8 new signings and guided a total investment of nearly £300 million, all in a bold attempt to end Arsenal's 6-year wait for major silverware. But even before Berta's arrival, Mikel Arteta had earned a reputation for forward planning. Back in December 2020, Arteta made it clear that the club's recruitment strategy was always one step ahead. The planning is already in place, for January and for the summer. Sometimes we can execute, sometimes not, depending on many factors. Edu is handling that side, and I'm focused on the games. We know what we want to do. That long-term approach remained consistent for several seasons. But with Berta now steering the recruitment vision, Arsenal have added a new layer of strategy and sharpness to their transfer process. After arriving from Atletico Madrid, Berta brought a refined perspective, and Arteta was quick to acknowledge the value of his input. The work done by the recruitment team, Jason, Ato, James, Ellis, and everyone involved, has been well prepared. But what you execute often looks different from the original plan. That's why Andrea is here, to help adjust and improve. And he's already doing just that. Now, just weeks after the summer window closed, the club is already turning its attention to January. And this time, the conditions are far more favourable. Unlike last season, Arsenal go into the winter market with 2 domestic loan slots available, a major advantage. In January 2024, the club found itself stuck. Injuries piled up, with Bukayo Saka battling a chronic hamstring issue and Kai Havertz requiring surgery shortly after the deadline. But Arsenal were unable to act. Not only were funds tight due to upcoming summer plans, but the club had also filled its Premier League loan quota by bringing in Neto and Raheem Sterling on temporary deals. That ruled out any mid-season moves for players like Marcus Rashford, who instead joined Aston Villa on loan. This year is a different story. By not using any domestic loans in the summer, Arsenal now have 2 open loan spots, and Andrea Berta has full authority to use them if the right opportunities arise in January. The focus, according to early reports, will likely be on a central midfielder who can provide cover and flexibility, especially with Thomas Partey expected to leave for the Africa Cup of Nations. A wide forward who can share the attacking load with Sokka and Martinelli, ensuring the team remains sharp and balanced across all competitions. January is rarely a time for blockbuster moves, but it is a window for problem-solving. Arsenal, under Berta's guidance, are determined not to repeat the mistakes of last season. With Champions League knockout stages on the horizon, and the Premier League race wide open, the importance of squad depth has never been clearer. And this time, Arsenal are ready, with options, with vision, and with a sporting director who's already proven he can deliver when it matters most. What makes this January particularly intriguing is the flexibility Arsenal now possess, both financially and structurally, compared to previous seasons. The lack of big money commitments in the final days of the summer window has left room in the budget, and with Andrea Berta's track record of unearthing high-impact players on smart deals, there's cautious optimism that the club could pull off something decisive. Berta's background at Atletico Madrid included the discovery and development of talents like Rodrigo de Paul, Thomas Lemar, and Renaud Lodi, All players who fit specific tactical needs rather than just flashy profiles. That same surgical approach could be key at Arsenal in January, where the focus won't just be on talent, but tactical compatibility, positional intelligence, and immediate availability. Internally, the recruitment team has already activated their January shortlist, and discussions have begun with agents and intermediaries to gauge the landscape. While names are still under wraps, Arsenal are expected to prioritise players who can hit the ground running in the Premier League or Champions League, offer rotation flexibility in high-demand positions like wide attack and defensive midfield, provide cover for AFCON-related absences, especially with Thomas Partey and Mohamed Elneny both expected to be unavailable for up to 6 weeks. The Africa Cup of Nations, running from January 13th to February 11th, could prove to be a disruptive stretch, and Arsenal are determined not to let it derail their momentum. Unlike last season, where the squad's lack of depth was brutally exposed, Berta and Arteta are working to ensure this year's team is ready to navigate the crunch period. But the January window isn't just about responding to injuries or tournaments, it's also about gaining a competitive edge. With Manchester City and Chelsea both dealing with off-field investigations and uncertainty surrounding potential sanctions, Arsenal could quietly solidify their title credentials while rivals face distractions. The ability to strengthen during that window, even with just 1 or 2 well-placed signings, could tip the scales come April and May. Arteta, known for his exacting standards, will be central in the final decision-making. But with Berta handling negotiations and shortlisting, and Edu managing the broader sporting framework, the infrastructure is now in place for Arsenal to act faster, smarter, and more effectively than in years past. There's also a broader psychological boost at play. For fans and players alike, the January window can serve as a signal, a show of intent from the club that it's all in. That belief, that momentum, can be just as valuable as the players themselves. With Arsenal still alive in all competitions and showing consistent form, reinforcements in January could serve not only as injury cover, but as the final piece in a squad built for greatness.